Good morning, you're welcome to the breakfast on Plus TV Africa. My name is Rume Paulson. It's Monday, the 17th of February, 2025. How are you doing today? Today is known as, well, one of the days that is World Human Spirit Day. So this is the day where you get to meditate, you're thankful for all that you have, and you stay confident in yourself. And it's also Random Acts of Kindness Day. So go about spreading that love, obviously the love that you got from Valentine's Day, spread it today by giving random acts of kindness. On today's breakfast show, we're looking at several hot topics, one of which experts warn inflation after 2025 budget passage. Much later in the show, we'll be discussing the fact that NAFDAC has sealed 3,000 shops and seized fake drugs in Lagos. We'll also be taking global stories that made it to the front pages of our national dailies, as well as some top trending stories. But first, let's see our quote of the day. All right, and our quote says, success usually comes to those who are too busy to be looking for it. And that is according to Henry David Thoreau. He's an American transcendentalist author, and he says this morning, success usually comes to those who are too busy looking for it. And we're giving you this because it's Motivational Monday. So, of course, we're going to motivate you to be successful. However, you shouldn't be looking for it, because most times a lot of people put it in their heads that, oh, I want to be successful, and you try to do anything that would make you successful. Sometimes it can even be criminal or illegal just because you are striving for it. And it's okay to strive for something, but what should you be doing instead? You should be having fun, doing that thing that is amazing, that thing that would impact the world, creating a solution, creating something. And before you know it, you get to find success in that, because it will come with money, it will come with fame, you'll be known for that thing that you've created. So all of your ideas, put them together. Instead of just saying, I want to be successful, be busy building that amazing solution that you're going to give to the world, and success will come from it. All right, that's it for our quote of the day. We'll move over to our top trending stories. The first one says, Northern leaders or Northern elite express alienation under Tinubu's administration. A former APC youth leader, Ismail Ahmed, has highlighted feelings of alienation among Northern elites despite their strong support in securing President Bola Tinubu's 2023 victory. He noted that many Northern figures who helped Tinubu secure significant votes are questioning their representation in the current government. These sentiments, according to Ahmed, have even cascaded to the average Northerner and some in the East. Despite Tinubu's efforts in the North, the Livestock Ministry commissions his key policies have faced backlash. And right now, Ahmed has emphasized that successful leadership in Nigeria depends on managing diverse regional class and political interest, suggestion that Tinubu should be more inclusive in his approach to governance. Ahmed also called for increased presidential engagement with all regions, urging Tinubu to make more visits, especially to pivotal northern states like Kano, and to foster greater communication with Nigerians across the country. Of course, everyone should have a seat at the table. Nobody should feel alienated. But I'm sure there are still some people that are from the north that are still part of the government. They're still doing things in the cabinet. And I think it's important that we note, it shouldn't just be about where you're from. It should be about your capability. It should be about what you can bring to the table. It should be about, all of the amazing things, the transformational things that you can do for Nigeria. A lot of times we vote our leaders in just because of tribal sentiments, religious sentiments, but that shouldn't be the case. It should be, is this person right for the job? does this person have the capacity to be able to do this? Not just saying, oh, because we're northern leaders or northern elites, we should be there just because of where we're from, regardless of whether we can do the job or not, regardless of whether we can move Nigeria forward or not, regardless of, our educational background, our prowess. No, that's not the case. It shouldn't be that way. If you're capable, of course, if you bring value to the table, there is no way nobody would come and say, you're not doing anything. In fact, they will search for you. So bring that value and they'll search for you. Now, obviously, because Nigeria is is a country that has so many diverse, tribes and regions, it's important that everybody feels represented and nobody feels marginalized, right? So at least what we expect is go to those places, seek out the people that can bring value, and you get them as well. So everybody should just always feel represented at the table. Another top trending story this morning says, Serap demands CBN reversal of ATM fee hike in 48 hours. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, Serap, has given the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, a 48-hour ultimatum to reverse the recent increase in ATM transaction fees, calling it unlawful and unfair. In a letter dated February 15, 2025, signed by Deputy Director Kolawole Oluwadari, Serap argued that the policy will worsen financial hardship for low-income Nigerians. The CBN's directive, effective March 1, 2025, imposes 100 naira per charge to 20,000 naira withdrawal from off-site ATMs and up to 500 naira as standalone cash points. Serap contend that this contradicts the CBN Act and consumer protection laws, creating a discriminatory financial system that burdens struggling Nigerians. The organization warned that if the CBN fails to reverse the policy, it will take legal action. Meanwhile, bank customers have also expressed outrage, criticizing the removal of the fee, free ATM withdrawals, and the increasing financial strain imposed by banks. Nigeria, my country, every single day there is something new. In this case, of course, we're talking about ATM. So I want to get my money. I put my money in the bank and I want to get it out. And now you're telling me that I have to pay about 100 naira for certain ATMs or 500 naira at standalone ATMs. Now, what does this tell you? That means you're just basically letting me know that I shouldn't put my money in the bank. Maybe we have to go back to the old times where we used to dig the ground and keep our money in there, and that was the way for your money to be safe. Because you're going to these banks, you're putting your money there, you're not even getting any interest in most cases, right? Especially if your account is a working account where you get to take out money every single day. So you are using my money to trade, so you're making money off you're making money off my own money, and then for me to even take my money from the bank, I have to pay an exorbitant amount. I'm not even saying the CBN should not try to make money, but come on, we're still talking about electricity tariff. We're also talking about telecoms tariff. Right now, you're also talking about bank charges. And let's talk about how many bank charges that we have. There's the stamp duty. There is the, the text message, especially if you get text alerts. So many charges, to be honest. And now you want to introduce this as well. I can only imagine what the POS operators will start to charge, because if they know that, the banks will charge this high, that means I'm going to charge higher. So how are people supposed to get their money? How is a person who is just getting a little amount every month, how are they supposed to cope? Because if I was in the village, maybe I was getting about 20,000 or whatever the case might be, and I already have plans for that money. You're telling me that I still need to take about 100 naira to 500 naira out of it. Meanwhile, I don't even have enough. It's just sad, and I'm happy that Serap is taking this up, because in fact, it should be gradual. Even if you want to increase it, it should be gradual. Don't just bamboozle us with from 100 naira to 500 naira. In fact, I think it used to be free, and now you're telling us 100 naira, for other ones 500 naira. Come on. come on, Nigeria, we can do better. CBN, we can do better. All right, another top trending story says Nigeria demands probe into U.S. Congressman's USAID terror funding claims. Nigerians are demanding an investigation into claims by the U.S. Congressman Scott Perry that the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, has been funding terrorist groups, including Boko Haram, with $697 million annually. Perry made the allegations during a congressional hearing on waste and fraud in government spending. While the Nigerian government has yet to respond officially, security experts and former diplomats have weighed in, urging a thorough probe. Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff, Christopher Musa, previously raised concerns about international funding channels that may be aiding terrorist groups. Some analysts argue that the claims may be politically motivated, while others stress the need for Nigeria to scrutinize foreign aid programs. Meanwhile, former government officials and military leaders insist that if the allegations hold, Nigeria and other affected nations should demand accountability and possible reparations from the U.S. government. I mean, this was obviously making rounds over the weekend. And it's alarming because these are allegations, right? But these are things that we've heard over time. In fact, here in Nigeria, in our own political space, we've heard situations whereby it's allegedly that some politicians are the ones who fund these terrorist groups. So hearing now that even the U.S. is in on it is ridiculous. Like, you wonder why? What is the end game? What is the goal? Why are you just going to say you want to impoverish African countries just because you want to stay on top? If this is true, then you need to understand, what's the motivation? What did we do to you? Why did you decide that you want to attack us in this way and manner? Security is a major challenge in Nigeria. It has been for a number of years, and it's something that we've been trying as much as possible to eradicate. But here we are still seeing cases whereby people are being kidnapped. You're still seeing terrorism, banditry. Even school children are not safe anymore. So hearing something like this, that the U.S., who sometimes we kind of like glorify and say, oh yes, the U.S. is the leader of the whole nation, and they're doing amazing things, they're doing great, and we look up to them. If there is any iota of truth in this, I think definitely we need to look at it. We need to probe into it and demand reparations, because you know how many lives have been lost from these terrorist attacks if truly they were the ones funding it. It is time that Africa starts to wake up. It's time that sometimes I know we want the aids, we want to look good in their books, but why can't we do things ourselves? Why can't we do things our own way? We do not have to depend on other people all the time. Sometimes you can take the bull by the horn and say, I can do it. And Africa, now is the time to wake up, because if this is true, oh boy. All right, our final top trending story says Ondo youth torch police station over suspect's death in custody. Irate youth in Ifon, Oshe local government area of Ondo State set fire to a police division following the alleged death of a young man in police custody. Reports claim the victim was tortured to death by officers, sparking outrage among residents. Although the incident occurred on Saturday evening, full details remain unclear. According to eyewitnesses, the unrest stemmed from a Valentine's Day crisis, and protesters mobilized upon learning of the victim's death. The crowd, heavily charged, overpowered the police and stormed the station, setting it ablaze. Ondo State Police Command spokesperson Fumilayo Odunlami Omisonya confirmed the attack and stated that reinforcements had been deployed to the town. The State Commissioner of Police, Wilfred Afolabi, is reportedly on his way to Ifon to restore order and prevent further violence. Violence is never the case, but obviously in this case, a young man has died, and if truly he was being tortured, that is quite sad, and that is something that, shouldn't happen. That's on the police. How can you have someone who's been arrested? He has never been put to a death sentence. I'm not even sure this man has been tried already, but then you're torturing him to death just because you're trying to get some information or something, or whatever it might be. I don't think every human life matters. Even the people that have been criminals, their lives still matter. You can charge them to court, you can try them, you can imprison them for life. if case might be, you can give them the death sentence, but it's something that has been written, it's a judgment that has been given by the courts, not just the police, because the police responsibility is to maintain peace and order in a community. So how are you maintaining peace and order? By killing someone, by torturing someone to death. It's quite sad, and I don't think that's something that should even happen in the first place. Now, on the other hand, whereby these youths have gone to set the police station ablaze, what is that going to bring the person back? Not necessarily. But there's so many people now that are out of jobs, and there's so many police people that would probably be innocent there and did not have a hand in this person's death. And I hope that, for some of the police people that were on duty that day, I hope there was no one that maybe lost their lives or anything. But no matter how upset you can be, it's better to just allow the law to do its thing. Do not take justice into your own hands. And, our condolences goes to this young man that has lost his life, and obviously the family who is grieving right now. All right, that's it for our top trending stories. We'll go on a short break. We'll look at the weather. When we return, we'll be reviewing the papers. Please stay with us.